Today's recipe is baked rice pilaf with feta and roasted tomatoes. The ingredients include long grain white rice, vegetable stock, roasted red peppers, olive oil, garlic cloves, dried oregano, sea salt, red pepper flakes, lemon juice, sun-dried tomatoes, cannellini beans, spinach, Parmesan cheese, feta, cherry tomatoes, and dill.
Hello, I'm going to be starting a series of cooking videos, and I'm going to be working my way through this cookbook called the Evergreen Kitchen. It is a vegetarian cookbook, and I'm not a vegetarian, but I do like to do some meatless Mondays or just reduce a little bit of the meat that I'm consuming every week. And the author of this book is very much kind of on board with that. Like, she's doesn't necessarily expect you to become vegetarian, but she wants you to have really good flavors in it if you are going to try to have some vegetarian meals. So this is by a Canadian who's got a blog called Evergreen Kitchen, and this is one of her books. I just want to read a little bit from the beginning of this book here, get you a feel for what her philosophy is. I'm going to try to work through all the recipes in the book and make some videos as we go. I'll post links to her recipes and her blog in my video description, so you can follow along and make the same recipes that I am. So, as I said, she says, let's get this out of the way now. I am not going to try to convince you to become a vegetarian. You don't need to be a vegetarian to enjoy vegetables, and you certainly don't need to be a vegetarian to eat a meatless meal every once in a while. And then she kind of goes on a little bit to talk about what is your daily problem. And she says, we probably ask ourselves the same question every day. What's for dinner? I'll confess, I've already asked this question twice today. First to my husband over breakfast, which was followed by a blank stare, a long pause, and an obnoxiously long sip of coffee. So I turn this question back to myself. And, I struggle with that every single day. I ask my husband what he wants to eat. I get the same answer, usually a joke, and one that I don't find funny anymore because it's been said to me many, many times. But, it is hard to decide what to make, and especially when you've got a long day at work and you're struggling to figure out what to do for food. If you don't have something planned or prepared, then your default's going to be something unhealthy. You're going to end up ordering in or going out to eat and eating something that's not so good for you. And having a reset, kind of focusing on some meatless meals with some great veggie options that are also still full of flavor, having that prepared and planned out ahead of time will really help a lot. So I'm going to be working through these recipes, also trying to focus a bit on things that we can prepare ahead, either with freezer prep or with some meal prep on the weekends, just to give ourselves a better head start so that in the coming week, we've got a plan ahead and we don't, just default to those unhealthy meals that we look for. Okay, so I've got the oven preheating to 425. The recipe I'm making today is baked rice pilaf with feta and roasted tomatoes. So the nice thing about this is the rice cooks in the oven. It's fairly hands-off. You go ahead and you get the rice going, then prep a few more ingredients that are going to top it off. It gets a quick broil to crisp up that rice a little bit at the end, and it makes a very delicious meal. This is one of the few I have done so far from a book. I've probably cooked 3 or 4 recipes from this book so far, and I just wanted to kind of explore together. So most of the stuff I'm going to be learning as we go, just as I share stuff with you. But I also have cooked a couple of these just to get a feel for how the book is structured. So like I said, I've got the oven preheating, and the next thing we're going to do is start the pilaf. So we've got a roaster. You can do this in a Dutch oven or a brazier. I just picked this up yesterday because I happened to be having brunch with some friends, and we stopped at the outlets on the way home, and this was 40% off, and I've always wanted one, so now it's the perfect time. I was going to start these videos this week, and now I have a new brazier to do this in. So I'm going to add the rice to my pot. The recipe in the book serves 4 to 6, and it would be 1.5 cups of rice. I'm doing about a half recipe, so I'm not doing quite the same amounts that's in the recipe. So we add our rice to the pot. Then the next thing we'll do is we're going to add some vegetable stock. And my go-to vegetable stock, or any stock for that reason, is better than bouillon, which is what she also recommends in the introduction to this book. It's really versatile because it's a concentrate, so you can keep it in the fridge and it lasts for a very long time. You don't have to have that already concentrated stock on hand, and it's got a lot of flavor. I find this brand, particularly in the vegetable, if you're going to be trying to have some vegetarian meals, it's got quite a bit of flavor for a vegetable stock. So we will need 2.5 cups of vegetable stock. And this recipe, this brand of bouillon, of the Better Than Bouillon, you'll concentrate it 1 teaspoon per cup. So I'm going to add what I need here to my pot. So I said 2.5 cups of stock. Okay, I've got my stock in the pot. The next item that we need is some roasted red peppers. So I have a jar of whole roasted red peppers here, and I will slice these up. We need 2/3 a cup of roasted red peppers. If they'll come out of the jar. Dice these up. And add those into my pot. Next, we need 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Just gonna add a little bit of olive oil to the pot. Next, we need some garlic, 3 cloves of garlic. I definitely find that using fresh garlic, even though it can be a little bit of a hassle, it gives a lot more flavor than using jarred or granulated garlic or any other variety. Just a quick little press through the garlic and next up we need a little bit of oregano and salt to give this a little bit of seasoning. So we will do a tablespoon of oregano and 1/2 teaspoon of fine sea salt. It is a good idea to salt as you go. Adding salt to the different layers of your recipe gives it a long-term flavor as it's cooking. So adding it at the end doesn't really help to build that flavor and to really seep into all your ingredients. So adding salt throughout the process is really what you would like to do. And then lastly, we're gonna add some red pepper flakes. So about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. So I'll give that all a stir up and then I'll put it in the oven for 35 minutes. While that rice is in the oven, we're gonna start prepping the rest of the ingredients we'll add at the end. So we're gonna need 2 cups of chopped spinach. So I've got some fresh spinach here. I will chop this up, get it ready to add later. Next up, we're going to prepare some sun-dried tomatoes. We need 1/4 cup drained and minced tomatoes. We will next chop up some dill, 1/4 cup of dill. We will add to the pot when it's done. Not everyone likes dill, and she does give you some suggestions if you don't like to use dill. I love dill, and I feel like I don't eat enough of it in different recipes, so I was looking forward to having some dilly flavors in this. And we will add some fresh lemon. When it comes out, I'll take care of that later. We will add tomatoes. Those will just kind of go in as is, cherry tomatoes. Then we'll grate up some Parmesan, and we will drain a can of beans. And then we can just take a little break until the rice is done. That is one of the things I love about this recipe. It's very little time doing anything, and then you still get to have a nice hearty meal when you're done. I need 1 ounce of finely grated Parmesan. Okay, so the last thing, I'm just going to drain these cannellini beans, and then we wait for the rest of it to be done, and I'll be back with you soon. Okay, the rice has come out of the oven. We'll now add the rest of our ingredients and put it under the broiler for a bit. So first we'll fluff the rice up a little bit and add the rest of our ingredients. First up, a little bit more olive oil. Then the sun-dried tomatoes. Next up, the spinach. We also need our fresh lemon juice, and I definitely recommend fresh whenever you can. It's way better flavor and freshness than the bottled kind. And I really love these citrus presses. Do a great job of getting the lemon nice and juiceful. You can use a reamer type style as well, but I really like this model, which the cookbook author also mentions in her book. One last stir. And be careful, I keep putting the oven mitt on my hand because this is hot right out of the oven. And sometimes I know I forget that things are hot and grab the handle. So definitely make sure that you are keeping that in mind as you're doing this step. Okay, lastly, we're going to top this with some feta and some cherry tomatoes. Give it a nice pop under the broiler for a bit, and then we'll be ready to give it a try. Okay, so for the feta, we need 3/4 cup of feta. As I mentioned at the start, I did do a half recipe, which still looks like there's quite a bit in here. So this will be dinner today and several lunches from at least myself. My husband will probably eat dinner. He's not huge on leftovers. Okay, that looks like a good amount of feta there. And then lastly, some cherry tomatoes. I'm using a mix of some farmer's market tomatoes I've got and some cherry tomatoes on the vine from the store. So nice heirloom farmer's market tomatoes. These were even on sale today. Sugar bomb tomatoes. And she actually has you put them in there with the vine, although this vine fell off, so that's not going to help. And there's not really that many, and they keep falling off anyway. I'm just gonna not bother with the vine. Even though it looked pretty in her picture. I just bought these tomatoes today and a few of them are already a little bit funky. Okay, the amount of tomatoes you're supposed to use is 10 ounces. So that would be 5 for the half recipe. A couple more here. Perfect. Okay. So that should be all my ingredients that I need. This will pop under the broiler for about put it under the broiler for 4 to 8 minutes, keeping a close eye on it because obviously broilers can go real fast and make you real sad. So you want the feta to get a little bit golden brown, tomatoes to blister a little bit, but we don't want this to overcook. I lost my other, oh, here it is. There we go. Put this back under the broiler. Ooh, it's hot. Okay, I'll give you a little look at that. There we go. So we'll keep it under the broiler for a few minutes. I'll keep the door open and keep checking on it so we don't go too far, and be back with you shortly. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Got some browning on the feta, some of the tomatoes are splitting. I think I'm going to put my mitts on, take this out. Last step is to add that dill we chopped up earlier. Give it a quick taste for salt and re-season if we need to. And then we will be done. Okay, let's see. This little taste. It's very good. I can taste the lemon, the nice fresh lemon. I think I'll add just a smidgen more salt, give this a stir, then eat it up. So thanks for watching. The next recipe I've got planned is a hot honey carrots with lentils. After that, I haven't planned out too much far into the book, but she does have a lot of recommendations of different things to meal plan together to save on ingredients so you're not buying too much and wasting any one ingredient. So I'll look into some of that and make some plans for the weeks ahead. And thanks for watching and hope to talk to you soon.